We're ready to begin.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. It's good to see you today. How are you doing?
Hi, good. I'm doing good, Stephanie. Thank you.
Great, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we discussed last time. Last time we met, you were working through choosing a career field that might be interesting to you, looking to
hmm
change jobs, and we had established that finance and accounting was really interesting to you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you were going to do was do some research, find out more about finance accounting, and why don't you tell me a little bit about what you found out?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Since we've met last time, I went and I did a little research and just searching on the web, trying to look for jobs that um, focused in finance and accounting, like I wanted to get into. I just kind of did a broad search of some different companies that work in the finance industry, and also looked at specific companies that were close to where I live. So
Great,
I did that.
great. What what information did you find out? What companies are there? What kind of jobs are there out there?
Well, I found out close to my house. There's a couple. There's a big um, company that is a brokerage company
Mm,
that's really close to my house. There's also a couple banks. I did look at some banking, some big banks that are real close to my house that would have some positions for accounting or finance. And then what else did I find? Um, I think those were the two main ones I looked at. Banking was a big one that I started with, and then kind of yeah, the brokerage company. So those two were real
great,
close to my house and were pretty big.
great. Well, from the research that you did, can you tell me what seemed most appealing about the field of finance and accounting?
Yeah, they both definitely had some jobs posted, which got me excited. So I
Yeah.
started reading about what they were for, and they had some accountant jobs and some financial analyst jobs that were posted. And both of those, definitely really got excited about um, some of the
Hmm.
things that they're looking for those positions and what I could do to possibly get into those.
Great. What information did you find out about the position?
I found out that most of them, wanted to require a bachelor's degree. Some wanted a finance and accounting degree, but others just wanted a business degree. And then there were one or two that didn't really require a degree, but um, would focus on experience. And as far as uh, timeline of experience, I saw everything from I guess
Hmm.
beginner jobs that didn't need any experience, like 0 to 1 year's experience, or several of them wanted to have someone who had 1 to 4 years experience in finance and accounting.
Great. Great. Well, that's good information. I'm really glad that you
hmm
spent that time doing the research for the jobs. I think we've learned a lot from that, and you've provided some good insight. I want to take a few minutes to talk about Brian a little bit more. I really want us to focus on thinking about what your values are. What kind of things are important to you? And specifically, what's really important to you in a job?
Sure, sure. Yeah, something that's really important to me in a job would be, a good company to work for. I definitely want to work for a company that has a good history and a good reputation. Somewhere that is, fun to work at, has a good atmosphere, and has good people
Hmm.
that are working there. It's always a good thing. I really want to work somewhere where I can learn new things about finance and accounting. I
Mm-hmm.
really think it'd be um, it's good. Somewhere where, yeah, there's always a different area to learn about finance and accounting,
Mm-hmm.
and getting exposure to different companies that teach a little bit different aspects of those would be great.
Great. So when you were doing your research, were there any companies that stood out to you that maybe align really well with those values?
Yeah, like I said
Mm-hmm.
before, I did find some banks that were close to my house, and a brokerage company. The
Mm-hmm.
brokerage company was Fidelity, I think, and then
Mm-hmm.
some banks that were close to my house. Some of the bigger banks were Wells Fargo and Capital One. Those were two of the big ones,
Great.
and Bank of America was on there too.
Great. Good. Good information, Brian. Um, let's let's talk about your passions. What are you passionate about? What makes Brian excited?
Sure, sure. Yeah, things that I really get excited about when learning, looking for a job was, yeah, one thing was really learning. I have done some banking experience through some other jobs before, so I kind of know the part of bank accounts and how they work, and customer service and talking with people about bank accounts, but kind of really wanted to learn more about um, how banks use accounting and finance to do like their corporate financing, and how other companies use accounting and finance to do their corporate accounting would be a really big area I'd be wanting to look in.
Great. Great. So, Brian, what I'm hearing you say is that you've got previous experience in the banking field, working with customers,
Yeah.
and you've got this degree in business, so you feel like that's something that you can apply in a position that's in finance and accounting, correct? So, our goal, or your goal specifically, is to shift into a finance and accounting role, almost like a change of career.
Yeah.
Great.
I'd like a change. That would be really exciting.
Yeah. Great. Great. So what do you think it's going to take to make that change? To go from the banking side, customer service stuff,
Hmm.
into finance and accounting?
Um, well, that's kind of a hard question. I was wondering, I was hoping to come and talk to you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Would be what would be some good ideas to try and position myself so I could switch from more of a customer service and banking side of the business to go into more of a, yeah, more of like a corporate accounting job. I'm, I'm I see some of the
Mm-hmm.
jobs that I looked at, so looking at some of the requirements that they want. They really want someone who's um, has experience with Excel and working with spreadsheets and budgeting and forecasting, and I'm not sure how I'll, to make the connection to where how I could transition from customer service and banking uh, experience to get into something more like that.
Great. Great. Well, let's brainstorm for a couple of minutes. And how do you think people get that experience who don't already have it? What are some ways that we could maybe try?
Hmm, how do people get into that without having any experience at all,
Mm-hmm.
and some
Just
of
starting out, brand new,
just
fresh.
starting out? Well, I think a lot of people, when they're looking at a particular company, find a job that's kind of an entry level job where they can
Mm-hmm.
get into the company doing something easier, and then
Mm-hmm.
after working there for a little bit, can learn more things and use that knowledge and transition to a more complex job. Would be higher. Would be a job that's higher in the company.
That's one good way, yeah.
Hmm.
What else?
Um, some people, possibly even go back to college again to
Mm-hmm.
learn more and get maybe another associate's degree or another degree or a master's degree
Mm-hmm.
to get some more education to better position themselves for a better job like that.
Good. That's good.
hmm
What else?
Let's see, what else could we do? I guess maybe you could put some points on when you apply in your application and your resume. You could put some things on there that stand out that say you're really looking to change to get into another aspect of a job,
Mm-hmm.
and put that you're willing to put the time and effort in to learn a new part of a job.
Right. So do you mean something like reframing your resume, tailoring it to like your new field and what you're trying to get into?
Yeah, is that kind of what you do when you apply for different jobs that have different requirements and different needs? You can kind of change your resume a little bit to show that.
Yeah, I mean that definitely sounds feasible. You know, Brian, those are three really great ideas. Let's think for a minute. What what's what's a barrier, an obstacle? What's stopping you from doing those things?
I think maybe my hardest thing with doing that is trying to, you know, transition to something new that I don't have any experience with. And I have experience with banking and customer service, and I know how to talk to people, and I know how
Mm-hmm.
to help them with their bank accounts and their statements, but I'm not sure I know, how to put experience in other areas, like some of the other jobs that are requiring where you have experience in budgeting and forecasting and things like that. It might be a hard thing to try and transition to.
Well, the first thing that you mentioned was an entry level job in one of those companies you're
hmm
interested in. Is that something that's feasible for you to do?
Yeah. I think it's a really good way to get into a company and start working
Mm-hmm.
in a company. Um,
Yeah.
they'll have an entry level job, which is something I can definitely do. I can definitely
Mm-hmm.
learn. When you get into those jobs, you really learn a lot about the company and what they do. And then, yeah, as you work, you kind of find out more things that they do in different positions that
Yeah.
they have. Yeah.
Well, great. Great. So that might be something we consider doing. That's good. So the second
Sure.
thing that you mentioned was getting more education. And one thing I want to mention and point out that education may not have to be formal, as in another degree, but maybe
Mm.
even have you thought about taking a continuing education course somewhere that's in
Oh.
finance and accounting, maybe learning some of those skills that are taught in a different format. You know, education's changed quite a bit,
Oh. Okay.
um, the way courses are going. Have you thought about maybe potentially getting some more education, either getting another degree or taking a class or anything like that?
No, but now that you say that, I definitely would if there was a way to, yeah, take a class or I guess get a certification. Some jobs look for different certifications.
That's a
Yeah.
great point.
Uh huh.
That's a great point. What do you think is would be an obstacle for you to do that? Why haven't you done that yet?
I don't know. I guess just maybe time, and maybe I just haven't thought about that before and tried to actually do it or get the resources to do it.
Hmm. So maybe we could spend some time doing research on what educational opportunities there are. That's another good one. What do you
Yeah.
think a timeline would be on something like that?
I don't know. Is it like are they like college courses where it's like a whole semester, or do they have like shorter classes?
You know, Brian, I think that's something that we would have to look at more. You know, because there's a
Okay.
lot of options out there, I'm sure, um, especially for people who are working like yourself.
Hmm.
So let's revisit that and see if that's something maybe we can talk about next week. That's a good point.
Okay.
So the third thing you mentioned, let's talk more about that.
Just learning, trying to learn different areas of the finance industry and just get into different jobs.
Yeah, like those skills you were like
Yeah.
Excel and that kind of thing,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right?
learning Excel and spreadsheets and budgeting and forecasting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good resources, I'm sure, that we could locate for that as well. It sounds pretty similar to our second goal too, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So Brian, what do you feel like is your biggest obstacle to overcome? Um, what's stopping you from getting this job in finance accounting?
Oh, um, I guess I just need to just try it and attempt it and try and get over this obstacle and just try and put my resources together and do it. I
Yeah.
guess it's just not doing it is my big thing.
Right. So I'm hearing, maybe other things going on in your life that just hasn't been something you've been able to focus on, but
Hmm.
you feel like at this point it's something you'd like to make a priority.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Great. Great. So let's explore for a few minutes your support system. Who do you have that's that's going to help you be successful in pursuing this? Who's like your cheerleader?
Oh, well, I have some friends that I've kind of talked with, and they work in different jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, they've kind of been on the lookout for some of the jobs that get posted with where they
Mm-hmm.
work. That's a really good thing to because they know some of the managers and bosses there that do the hiring. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
a good place to have them look for me, um, and then just have some. They have some, friends too. So kind of a friends of friends. They kind of work in different industries, and some of them
Yeah.
work in finance. So I could definitely look into the companies that they work at and see if there's positions there, or they could help me look too,
Yeah.
and try and yeah, see if there's a good way to for an entry level position where I could transition to a different company that uses it.
Great. So it sounds like you have a good support system, people who are really cheering for you and want you to be successful and who have some contacts too that you could lean on.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So, what have we not considered? Is there anything we haven't yet explored that you'd like to talk more about?
Well, let's see. We talked about what I'm looking for, what my passions are, what kind of companies I'd like to work for. Let's see, and then yeah, things I could do to transition. What else do we have?
Well, let's talk about time. How long do you think it will take for you to get a job in finance and accounting?
Well, that's a good question. I don't imagine jobs like that, go really quickly, because I would assume that people
Yeah.
that get those jobs and they like them, they they tend to stay there for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
However, I see a lot of companies have those finance and accounting jobs, and it seems like they're always hiring. So there's kind of both there.
Mhm.
But as far as time wise, of how long I think it might take, I'm not sure. Um, maybe a month to a couple months. It just kind of, I guess, depends on how quickly a company hires and how badly they need to put someone in a position.
Oh, well, good. Good. I'm glad that we've thought about that. So, in our meeting today, I think we talked about a lot of good things.
Hmm.
We were able to kind of clarify what your passions are and your values and how those play into a job in finance and accounting. And we talked a little bit about the next steps for you. Um, those being looking at what courses maybe or education you can take,
Hmm.
and looking at what entry-level jobs might be available for you. And the third thing was, making contacts with people who are in those fields, and
Yeah.
maybe also a fourth item, just from what we said, looking at what other skills we can pick up to help complement, your experience now that are applicable to the job. You mentioned Excel being very important,
Hmm.
learning things about forecasting, that kind of stuff. So for your next assignment, you feel like you'll be able to do that research and be able to find the answers to those questions?
Yeah, I definitely think I can go back with what we talked about today and look for some other things. Yeah.
Great. Great, Brian. Well, I really enjoyed our session today, and I look forward to hearing from you next time about what you have to share.
Okay. Great.
Have a great day.
Thanks so much.